Hello and welcome to Doom Does DVD, and this is Disney Classics number 32, The Lion King. Now this one, which like Aladdin last week, is another one where one of my main memories of this is of the computer game version, constantly trying and failing to jump over the giraffes. Aside from that, before I started on this project, if you thought about the entire Disney Classics range, this is probably the film of which I remembered the most. Mufasa and Simba and Timon and Pumbaa, the Circle of Life, the Hakuna Matata, Big Wildebeest Stampedes, the traditional Disney death of a parent. And so while again, it's been a while since I last watched this, it's pretty clear in my memory. At least I think it is. Memory is a weird thing, and it's entirely possible some of that has got corrupted and twisted over the years. And so while I often say that The Lion King is probably my favourite Disney, on some level I'm only saying that because it's the one I remember the most. Rewatching Aladdin, it wasn't quite as good as I remembered it being, and so I'm wondering if that might end up being the same for The Lion King. I'm expecting more in this case. It probably won't, but there is that chance. So the big question this week is, will the film live up to my memory of it? So let's find out. I am glad to say that this does live up to my memories of it. The combination of Tim Rice, Elton John and Hans Zimmer make for excellent music. The story is fun and engaging despite the possible plagiarism issues, and the animation is some of the best Disney has ever done as far as I'm concerned. The animals are realistic looking but also able to show emotion, and the backgrounds and vistas absolutely beautiful. And what was very interesting to learn about that animation is that a lot of this was done sort of by what you might call the B team. The big key supervising animators were working on Pocahontas at this time, thinking that that was going to be the more prestige hit. And so for most of the people here in the supervising animated roles, it was their first time in that position, along with other people who specifically were interested in drawing animals rather than people, and ended up turning out something super magnificent. Whereas Pocahontas, you don't really hear as much about as compared to The Lion King. So while we're on the subject of animation, there's a little personal anecdote I've been waiting to tell regarding The Lion King. I don't remember exactly when or where this was, but at some point around the release of The Lion King, I was having a conversation with my uncle. He happens to be an artist/illustrator, and he was telling me about his dislike of the use of computers to make The Lion King. Particularly in this case is the wildebeest stampede. None of that was actually hand-drawn. The wildebeest are like 4 or 5 computer models that are then copy and pasted multiple times and given randomised computer paths, which to be honest is a pretty amazing, groundbreaking feat for the time. But it was my uncle's opinion at the time that that wasn't really true animation. He felt that the use of computers kind of spoiled the magic, and I have an oddly strong memory of that conversation. I don't really know why, but because of that, I have always presumed that The Lion King was the first time Disney had used computers. Whereas, as we have learnt over the last 7 weeks, it turns out they have actually been being at least assisted by computers for quite a while, but keeping it a bit quiet sometimes for that reason. Although admittedly the case with the wildebeest is the first time that the computer models were done directly on the computer. Previously, stuff like the Cave of Wonders, for example, was done in the computer but still based on pencil drawings. But still, it's interesting to look at that from 2020 and realise that, yeah, computers were definitely not going away from animation anytime soon. And I guess at some point in the future they will abandon pencil and paper completely. And so it'll be interesting to find out when/if that happens. So I would have really liked to learn some more behind-the-scenes information about the wildebeest stampede creation, but unfortunately this edition of The Lion King doesn't include a lot of particularly in-depth special features. But really annoyingly, on this disc is a little trailer for their classic bonus features. It tells you all about, 3 hours of bonus features going into in-depth about everything. But they're only on the Diamond or Platinum editions, and this is the Signature edition, so I haven't got those, because presumably they were on a disc too at some point. So that is one of the main downsides of this set, is that when there's a film you're particularly interested in the behind the scenes of. Throughout, the special features are very bare bones and just pretty basic. I guess target audiences are quite wide and broad for a film like this, but I'd be far more interested in some information about the technology and development of that kind of thing behind the scenes, rather than some kind of weird interpretive dance/painting thing based on the song Be Prepared. And so I think that's about it for The Lion King. Absolutely fantastic in every way, and still probably my favourite Disney, at least of the ones we've had up to this point. Although The Little Mermaid does come very close and may well be able to swap depending on mood. What are your thoughts on The Lion King? As usual, let me know about those down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next week with Pocahontas.